Pick your head up. Come on. Pick your head up. I know you're struggling. All right. I know you're looking at your bank account and you're like, bruh, when is my time going to come? Why do I keep finding myself in these same financial cycles, either living paycheck to paycheck or thinking that I found a way to grow my income and then I try and then it doesn't work. The launch failed. The thing wasn't selling. Oh my goodness. What is wrong with me? Lord, why aren't your hands on my finances like I've been praying about? I know I'm in your head. I know that's what you're thinking, because that is why you clicked on this very podcast episode. My friend, before you continue to sob, to complain, woe is me, boo-hoo, please pick your head up. I need you to pick your head up. Now, if you think I'm being a little too tough on you right now, my hope is that by the end of you listening to this episode, you're going to actually feel so encouraged and uplifted to keep your head up regardless of your financial situation. The reason why I want to talk about this today is because, one, I have gone through it. I still go through it from time to time. And two, money is the number one competitor after our hearts against God. Number one. And a lot of times it happens unintentionally without us even realizing that money is trying to take the throne of your heart. We have got to be careful about that. Because even if you are not chasing after money, but yet you find yourself worrying about money, you are still allowing money to be on the throne of your heart where God should be. Why? Because worry is now leading your life. It is all-consuming. You are obsessed about it. You're constantly thinking about how you're going to get out of the financial rut that you are in. And when you're constantly worrying about it, that takes up all the space in your mind, in your heart, and in your emotions, to the point where there is now no more room left for God to speak to you, to pour into you, to remind you, because you can't hear him. When your thoughts and your emotions are so loud because your worries are too big, it becomes dang near impossible to try and hear God's voice. So I want to help you through that, okay? Now, let me first start off by saying, a lot of times we get so insecure about our financial situation because we're looking at other people around us or online who seemingly have their finances together. And yes, they probably do. There are months where I have my finances together, but you know what? With more money comes more problems. And sometimes with more money comes more expenses or more debts or more things that you weren't expecting that you had to learn from. That's been my experience too, okay? So before we dive in, I want you to drop the comparisons. I want you to drop the, oh, well, they're a millionaire, or they made six figures, or someone I just talked to is making all this money. I know I can do that too. My friend, I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not saying that God won't bless you with that. I'm just saying, let it go right now. Because before we paint the picture of the vision we want, the change that we want to make within our financial situation, we need to change our heart's position first. And I truly believe that a big part of changing your heart's position when it comes to finances is learning to stop worrying about it. No matter how little your bank account is looking right now, there is a way for you to drop the worry over it, because you trust that God will take care of you. You will be okay. So I am going to walk you through things that I had to do when I was financially struggling or worried about where my money was going to come from next. Things that I had to do to no longer stress about it. And when I finally walked in that, there was this divine peace that overwhelmed me. And guess what, my friend? I was always okay. Something always came through, whether it was a client or surprise extra cash from someone, like a family member or a past customer or a gift or a contract situation, whatever it might be. But before that door opened, there were just some things I had to do to get my heart back right. when it came to money. And I'm going to walk you through that same thing, because my hope is that you do these things too. If you're struggling with finances and if you are waiting on God to open up that financial door for you, please listen in close. First thing I had to do, I had to remember who is in charge. Remember who is in charge. When money consumes your thoughts, you forget who's in charge. You forget who has power over not just your specific financial struggle, but over money in general. You forget about that. God is bigger than your financial problem. He is bigger than the economical issue, especially that's happening in the US right now. He is bigger than your debts. He is bigger than what you owe people. He is bigger than your bills. He is bigger than what you're trying to catch up on. He is bigger than your financial goals right now. You want to make six figures? You want to be a millionaire? Guess what? God is bigger than that actual vision. You just forgot, because you're either too busy chasing that vision, or you're too busy worrying about the fact that you're not there yet and you don't know how in the world to get there no matter what you try. Either way, God's bigger than both, but you forgot. You forgot. And that is something that I had to drill in my spirit. God is in charge. And if God is in charge, then why am I sitting here worrying about man-made money when the divine, all-powerful, all-living, all-present God is more powerful than that than we could ever imagine? God will look at a financial issue that you might be going through and he'll just be like, don't you know? I know that this problem feels so big to you, and I am right there in that with you. I know it's painful, but don't you know that I am bigger than this problem? That I can do anything? That if you would just trust me and walk with me through this, even if it doesn't make sense right now, I got you. Don't you know? And when we remember to cling tight to the very real fact that God is in charge, then your money problems, although, yes, they got to be fixed, they become smaller. They become less important because God finally begins to rise in you to be even more important than that, more powerful than that. Believe more in the God who is in charge than you believe in your problems that are consuming you in your reality right now. I know it's hard to do that, okay? Because when you're experiencing a problem, at the end of the day, you're going through it. It's painful. You're feeling all of the things. You're seeing it physically. And God, although we cannot physically see him, he is physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually there, ever so present, if we would just remember that he is in charge. Sometimes that very real realization, or me just speaking that over my spirit, was the check that I needed to get out of my funk, pick my little woe is me head up, keep doing what God is calling me to do, and trusting him every step of the way. Now, that brings me to the next thing that I had to do. I had to let go. When we're facing money problems, a lot of times it's fight or flight. And you listening to this episode, my assumption is that you are either a current entrepreneur or you have entrepreneurial creative ambitions. When you have that ambition, or if you're currently already an entrepreneur, naturally that comes with a trait of determination and of fighting. You are going to figure it out. You are trying to figure it out to make that goal in your business, in your project, happen. So when we are natural fighters as entrepreneurs, that causes us to chase, to hustle, to navigate, to constantly think, because we are simply trying to figure it out. Our brain is always on go, thinking about solutions, marinating on what we could do, what we could test or try. And although that can be good to an extent, if we're not careful, that can actually ruin us because we're clinging so tight to the idol of a solution. And when we idolize a solution, we forget that God is the solution in which we should be idolizing him. It's good to put in effort. God wants you to be able to do that when he calls you to do something, to build something, to start something. But are you obsessing and idolizing after a solution? There is a difference between putting in effort towards that solution versus obsessing about it to the point where it is now unintentionally an idol. I had to let that go. Look, I'm going to be real with you because I don't gatekeep and I don't like to sugarcoat, and I also don't like to put on a facade because, let's be real, right? Let's be real with each other. Although I make 6 figures in my business, we also just dropped a crap ton of money on our wedding 2 months ago. There are also debts that I still have to pay off. And when things like that start to build up, I jump into action. And I immediately say, okay, what's the solution here? How do I steward this better? How do I manage this well? How do I increase my income? How do I increase my income even more? I start jumping into solutions right away. And I had this moment recently where I just was overly thinking about it. And mind you, this was after I had put in a lot of effort towards these actions. And yet still, I was overly thinking about solutions. And I felt God put on my heart, I need you to stop because this is now becoming an obsession. I need you to stop and I need you to come back to me. Redirect yourself from chasing after finances to chasing after me. Let that go and chase me again. So then I just started to have a deep dive conversation with the Lord about, okay, well, how can I do this more with you then? Lord, what do you want me to do? I will let go of what you want me to. I will do what you want me to. You tell me, Lord, guide my steps. And as I just dove deeper into that prayer, I started to get more clarity on what I actually do need to be focused on and therefore simplify things versus trying to attach myself to a wide variety of things because I was willing to test and try so many different things in order to have the specific solution that I was looking for. But when God is in the picture, he will simplify it. He will let you know what to focus in on and what to let go of. But my friend, you have to be willing to let go. I want you to sit with that and really ask yourself, what needs to be let go? What are you obsessing over too much? What are you overly thinking about too much? It is all consuming. Pray over that. What could God be wanting you to let go of, to stop chasing so hard after that, and to redirect and instead chase after him? Now, that brings me to my final point of what I had to learn to do whenever I was financially struggling or just trying to figure out how to grow income, whatever the situation is in regards to money. I had to not excuse laziness for trusting God. I had to not excuse laziness as trusting God. Just because you are learning to trust God more with your financial situation does not give you an excuse to be lazy and to stop putting in effort to change your financial situation. So many times we make an excuse over our laziness by saying, oh, well, I trust God. Oh, well, I'm waiting on God. Look, there are moments for waiting on God. Yes. And you should always trust in the Lord. Yes. But that does not mean that your effort in the partnership as you go about life with God all of a sudden disappears. You got a part to play too, my friend. You do. God desires your faith, but he also desires your effort. So if you're looking at your bank account and you're worried about it, or you don't know how you're going to pay your bills, or you're trying to grow your income, but nothing that you're doing seems to be working, and you get to a point where you're like, you know what, God, I trust you. It's all going to be good. Watch your actions. Because if that means that your actions are now, you're not doing nothing, you're no longer putting in effort to learn about money or change your financial situations or really develop the character to steward your finances better. If you stop those actions, then you're taking an important part of the equation out in order to create change in your financial situation. God is the biggest part of that equation, yes. Trusting in him is a huge part of that equation, yes. But my friend, partnership. He wants to work with you on it. So yes, I know that I just mentioned, hey, there's going to be moments where you need to let go of trying to find the solutions and putting in all this effort. But remember, I was talking about overly obsessing about your effort in finding the solution, because at that point, when we do that, we unintentionally idolize the solution itself. But remember, heart's position. When God is first, as you're putting in that effort and as you're trusting Him, that is when the change starts to occur, rather than you putting God first and saying you trust Him and that you're just waiting on Him to help change your financial situation. And yet you're over there no longer putting in any action. You're on the couch, you're chilling. You stopped trying things. You stopped asking questions to mentors. You stopped learning and reading. You stopped showing up. You just stopped. And you tell yourself, oh, well, I'm just trusting God, when in actuality, it's like, are you really? Or are you just using that as an excuse to give up? Because there's a difference, and we have to be careful in our heart's position within that. Look, I know at the end of the day, financial struggle is rough, especially in entrepreneurship, because your income looks different month after month. I always love to say that entrepreneurship is one of the best, most powerful ways to grow your faith in the Lord, because you ain't got no choice but to rely on Him for everything. Your security, your finances, your sustainability. You ain't got no choice but to rely on the Lord. And a part of learning to rely on the Lord is paying close attention to how you react and respond whenever you are in a financial rut. You're going to be okay. You can and you will get out of it. I just encourage you, my friend, in addition to you trying to think through how you're going to get out of it, do not exclude God out of that picture. Bring Him back into that picture with you, into that pain with you, into that financial problem with you. Bring Him back in by considering all of the things that I mentioned in today's episode. I hope that this tough love encouraged you, reminded you, and uplifted you. Now listen, if there is a friend, a coworker, a colleague, a family member that you know that is financially going through it, please do me a favor and share this episode with them. I would love for them to be hopefully just as encouraged as you were. And most importantly, remember that God is on their side, fighting with them and fighting for them. If they would just wake up, if you would just wake up and realize it. Much love to you, my friend. Rooting for you always. Thanks so much for tuning in this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week for another episode.